I don't know if there's been more discussion in the mainstream news of whistleblowers ever before in history. Kevin, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Jason. Good to see you.
Good to see you. And I know it's got to be frustrating as a whistleblower yourself to have all this attention going to these anonymous, mysterious whistleblowers that nobody knows who they are. And you've been on Fox News talking about this. You've been on this program many times. We're going to be fortunate to have Mike Moore of True Pundit joining us later tonight at 7:30 when we begin our normal broadcast of the intelligence assessment on patreon.com/Kevin_ship, patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. And tonight we'll also have a simulcast on patreon.com/True Pundit so that Mike's subscribers can see it as well. But we're going to be focusing on this whistleblower who Adam Schiff has kept jealously guarded from the public. You've said it before, Kevin, but just go over it for us again, if you would, how far outside of normality this whistleblower is in every respect.
Well, as I have said, and will say again, this is not a whistleblower. And of course, now a second one has come forth because the first one's credibility began to leak out that there was no credibility. This is not a whistleblower. This is a leaker. This is part of a deep state shadow government operation. They went out and they recruited this disgruntled CIA person who hates Trump and to come out and leak. But what they did was real sly. Was instead of having this person come out, I'm former CIA, I was an analyst, I saw the transcript, I'm leaking it. Instead of doing that, knowing that he'd be taken apart at the seams, they put him under, both of them, under the Whistleblower Protection Act, which keeps them from being investigated, enables them to hide their identity, at least for now. And the whole thing is a grand sham. So I've gone out there on several broadcasts and said these are not whistleblowers. Both of them are fakes. They're plants. They're leakers. They're part of a larger operation now to try to use this once again. It's almost like Ukraine 1.0, trying to use this once again to impeach Trump. And also, we'll talk about this later this evening. What the DNC was involved in Ukraine is so deep and so nasty that this is a slugfest to the death between Trump and the opposition. There's so much that they have to hide here. They're trotting out these whistleblowers, and now these guys are just arrested, I guess, today at Dulles Airport. So this is nasty. It's coming to blows, and only one party is going to be left standing.
Yeah. So these guys that were arrested at Dulles, they were somehow working with Giuliani, right? They were going to blow the whistle on corruption in Ukraine. But we know who they are. They've come forward and said, hey, here we are. We know about this corruption. This is the way that whistleblowers operate. They stand up within the organization that they're in. I mean, we've seen many of them here. You yourself, you didn't secretly blow the whistle on the CIA. You let everybody know. They destroyed your life. They attacked your family, painted your ceiling of your house with poison. People who have watched the show each week are going to be familiar with the story, but if they're just tuning in for the first time, people can learn all about Kevin's ordeal becoming a whistleblower after he was a CIA officer by going to fortheloveoffreedom.net. There's a lot of information that Kevin keeps on the site, which is totally free for people to visit. You can see his daily ship brief, which is a good backup to Twitter, which is frequently censoring the types of views that Kevin likes to share. But really what you're going to want to do is to purchase Kevin's book, From the Company of Shadows. This is a detailed account not only of his time in the CIA, but this actual whistleblower ordeal that pretty much destroyed your life, destroyed you financially. And this is the story we've heard from every whistleblower who's come on the show, and there have been many now. Robin Gritz, she didn't blow the whistle in secrecy. She made it known that she was being targeted there in the FBI, and the targeting only got worse. She lost her job, her health has deteriorated. Just earlier today, Kevin and I had a conversation with another whistleblower, Patrick Berge, and Patrick had some amazing information about his time in Iraq and Afghanistan. Curiously, this information was damaging to the Obama administration and revealed quite a bit about cyber tools that are used to spy on basically anybody. Patrick went through in some great detail some of these companies that were formed by former Obama administration officials. Obama's former national security advisor created a company that has capabilities that sound remarkably similar to some of the things that you and I have discussed in the ongoing reporting we've done about the hammer, which has met a lot of resistance. I personally feel like all that nonsense coming from Mary Fanning could be intended to distract us from the real story here in the same exact way these fake Adam Schiff whistleblowers are distracting from the real corruption in Ukraine.
Yeah, I think you have a good point there. Fanning's articles are so way off that they're either trying to point people in the wrong direction or it's just very, very, very poor journalism. And I think we know which one it is, or both. But yeah, I think one very possible thing here is that Fanning's articles and the hammer and all of that could just be a distraction from what the government has and is really doing.
Yeah, it's shocking, and people who haven't yet seen that interview with Patrick Berge, I think, should take a look at it. It really kind of blew my lid to contemplate some of that stuff. But, you know, the other thing that we're going to be doing tonight that's really important, Kevin, we're going to be joined by Mike Moore. People who have been visiting TruePundit.com for the past several years are going to know Mike's got some of the best sources into law enforcement, FBI, DEA. He's got a lot of inside people that are speaking to him from his time there, where he was embedded as a reporter with the DEA and even worked as a private contractor in some of these types of companies that we're talking about, you know, looking for political dirt. So he knows a lot of stuff about this, and True Pundit is always revealing pretty surprising stories that are often not in the mainstream news until many years later. Two of these never-Trumpers have been tied to a human smuggling operation with an illegal orphanage. And, you know, it's interesting to see these people who are so adamantly against President Trump's agenda of draining the swamp seem to be the ones that are coming out and shouting so loudly. Adam Schiff is living in an alternative reality, right? I mean, you have debunked so much of the information that he's putting forward, yet he just keeps shouting through a very loud megaphone the same stuff.
Well, it's, you know, the oldest trick in the book. You accuse your enemy of what you're doing, or if you think you're going to get caught doing something, you accuse your opposition of doing that. That's exactly the procedure here for the deep state and the DNC. They're accusing Trump of collusion when they colluded themselves badly in Ukraine with some unbelievable corruption, which led all the way up to the Russia collusion lie. So what they're doing is they're trying to blame Trump and get the media on Trump for doing what they are trying to hide.
Yeah. The somewhat satisfying and ironic thing about all this is that for a long time I've felt like some of the players who have been thwarting the progress of Crowdsource the Truth with idiotic lawsuits and stupid sock puppet channels and Twitter accounts, they seem to be doing the same sort of thing that these Democrats are doing, and it seems to be collapsing in the same sort of way. This stuff is really designed to be kind of a smash and grab kind of operation to destroy the presidency, to destroy the campaign, to destroy whatever it is about your political opposition and just make them go away. Funny thing is, that seems to be happening to Joe Biden. Every day it's getting worse for Joe Biden. It's caused certain people to wonder if this wasn't a plan executed by Hillary Clinton for her to step into the race.
Well, who knows what's going on with that Jezebel. But I mean, Biden is a sneaky, creepy, slimy individual. And he was all over Ukraine. He was all over the Ukrainian corruption. That's what Biden and the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton's advisors were all over there. And what a lot of people don't know is this DNC server that was supposedly hacked into was not in the United States. It was in Ukraine.
Wow.
And it was part of the DNC's operation to get the Ukrainian government to stop the Trump election. That's how bad this is. That's how deep this goes. And Biden was just in there with his same old slimy self, cashing in with his son, and just stepping right into this mess with an unbelievable amount of corruption with the DNC against the Trump campaign.
And you've just touched on an important point that Dr. Corsi raised earlier today during Dr. Corsi's Prescription for America. The fact that that server was only ever examined by CrowdStrike, not examined by anybody at the FBI, not examined by anybody at the NSA. CrowdStrike, of course, is a company that was started by Dmitry Alperovitch, a Russian expatriate who's very anti-Putin, and also Sean Henry, former FBI agent. So it really strikes me, Kevin, as one of these sort of revolving door type companies where someone who has deep knowledge of a government agency, including some of the things that the laws disallow those agencies from doing, laws that are intended to protect the rights of American citizens, they can sometimes do these sort of things with a cutout company, and I'm sure the CIA does this type of stuff all the time.
I can tell you this, yes, with firsthand knowledge, that what these agencies will do is, since they can't, if they'll be breaking the law, if they do this, they'll hire a private company, or like you say very well, a cutout to do it for them. Happens all the time, and CrowdStrike would be one of those. So they're not breaking the law, the agency isn't, but the contractor that they hired to do this, the FBI has done it too with the NSA information. But they use this cutout to do the dirty work because it's illegal for them to do it, in this case the CIA or the FBI.
Yeah, and then they just throw those guys under the bus if they decide anything goes sideways.
Oh, yeah.
Really
that's the way it works.
dangerous deal to get involved in contracting for the government. So we're getting close to the end of our preview here, and we're going to be heading over to Patreon very soon. But, you know, it's interesting how this Ukrainian whistleblower is not going to testify, not going to reveal who they are. They're saying that it's going to result in, you know, some sort of backlash. But of course, whistleblowers always reveal who they are and usually are getting backlash from the people they're blowing the whistle against. This article in the Wall Street Journal makes a point of saying that the lawyers for the CIA officer, they're now right out there telling you this is a CIA person who seems to be manipulating the politics within the White House. This
What
lawyer,
a surprise.
Yeah. This lawyer we've heard quite a bit about, Mark Zaid. He's pretty well known as a whistleblower lawyer, isn't he?
He is. He's known for taking whistleblower cases. And I think one question that needs to be asked is how many of those cases has he won and how many of those has he lost? And does he take the cases knowing he's going to lose but get paid anyway? But why would, and I know I have had some interaction with Mr. Zaid in the past. And my question would be, why is Mark Zaid representing two false, fake whistleblowers, CIA officers, who are not whistleblowers at all? They're leaking as part of a deep state operation to impeach Trump. Why is Mark Zaid supposedly the whistleblower helper? Why is he in the middle of such a deep state operation? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, well, it's an excellent question. And of course, it's not that difficult for people to figure out that if you want to catch a whistleblower, you could arrange a whistleblower lawyer as a honeypot kind of operation.
Yeah. Oh, well, you can count on it. Yeah, they do that.
Right? And then people go to this guy and he takes their money and manages their case and makes sure it never goes anywhere. You can throw people under the bus quite easily.
I can tell you that my personal attorney's Clint, and I'll just use his first name, was a hero. The attorney that took my case against the state seeker's privilege was not. And it's like any sort of FBI sting. They put something out there that, hey, come here and we'll help you with your legal fees, or come here if you're a whistleblower, we'll protect you. And in reality, it's set up, the CIA does this to get all of the information out of that person before they file their suit against the CIA. So it's a honeypot for sure, big time. The CIA uses it, the FBI uses it, the DEA uses it.
Yeah, and it's a pretty common, you know, counterintelligence tactic, just like
Because
Lee
it
Harvey
works.
Oswald handing out those flyers for the Fair Play for Cuba Commission. They know whoever takes those flyers is a communist, so be on the lookout for whoever's hanging out with Lee Harvey Oswald. So very interesting. So Kevin, we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. We'll be back at 7:30 p.m. on patreon.com/Kevin_Ship. patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. And tonight with our special guest, Mike Moore of True Pundit. Sponsors of True Pundit on Patreon will also be able to see tonight's special broadcast at patreon.com/truepundit. I do also want to mention that Kevin has got a Subscribestar site now, so if anybody doesn't like Patreon for whatever reason, you can support Kevin by going to subscribestar.com/Kevin-ship. Don't forget, ship is spelled with 2 P's. You can also watch Crowdsource the Truth on Subscribestar. Got to thank all the generous sponsors, Kevin, and I hope we get some new people joining us over there tonight. Yeah. It's going to be an excellent show. We're going to get really deep into the whistleblower story. We're going to find out more about Burisma and all of the oligarchs over there in Ukraine that Joe Biden was leaning on and then joking about at the Council on Foreign Relations. It really is head-spinning, the level to which this is going on, and the fact that they can get anybody at all to believe it shocks me.
Yeah, I agree, Jason.
Well, I'll see you in just a few minutes over there on Patreon, Kevin. Thanks very much, and I'm looking forward to a lively conversation with Mike Moore.
You bet.
See everybody there. Take care.